Good evening and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 151 of 2024. Now, Peter had found a woodpecker's nest. He was delighted. He was overjoyed because it seemed that things were working out. But I must tell you a little bit more about some of the things that happened before he got to this point. Now, when he had left the tavern that night, he arrived home more hopeful and more happy than he had been for a very, very long time. But as he was crossing the threshold of the door, he remembered that he did not have at this point in time the spring root. This brought his spirit down, his mood dropped, and he fell upon his straw bed, feeling defeated once more. When he awakened in the morning, he thought, well, I will have to wait out this fall and winter. For in the spring, I am sure, I will be able to find the woodpecker's nest I am seeking. Now, his wife had come in to his small little bedroom and had roused him in a way that was typical, asking him where he had been last night and was he out drinking and spending her hard-earned money. Well, he responded and said, look, I was out taking care of something that may work to our benefit. Our benefit, she said. What a joke. You come up with a plan that's going to help us? She scoffed him, hit him on the cheek, and said, you're crazy. Well, they got into a bit of a tussle and argued back and forth for a little bit. But in the end, they sort of patched it back up, and the day continued on as it normally did, which wasn't so great. Now, Peter's daughter, well, she loved Peter dearly. She had been spoiled by him as much as her mother had been mean and scolding of her. So she really loved him, and she hated to see her mom treat him the way that she did. She could tell he had something, well, that he was scheming, something that had uplifted his spirits. And through the next months, she would slip him coins whenever she could. A penny here, a couple there. And Peter began to save this money up in order to pay one of those young men out there who would hopefully find him the woodpecker nest. The woodpecker nest having been found, Peter now knew that he had to come up with the red cloak to imitate fire. Now, there was only one person that he knew in the entire town that had a red cloak. That was Mr. Hammerling. Mr. Hammerling was the hangman of the town. And no one really liked to have to interact with him. because he was the hangman. I have to say that Peter, he spent a lot of time going back and forth as to what he should do, because he did not want to go see Mr. Hammerling. But on the other hand, he knew that he must, if he was to have the red cloak. Time was of the essence, because if those birds in that nest were big enough, they would fly their nest, fly away from it, and never be seen again. Mustering up all the courage that he had, he went to see Mr. Hammerling. Now, I must say that Mr. Hammerling was delighted that someone as notable as Peter would come to him wishing to borrow his royal garment, his cloak. He was delighted, though, to share it with Peter. Peter was surprised. He had never expected this kind of reception and went away with a light and a happy heart, feeling like his plans were in fact working out. And we'll leave the story there and see if he can make good with that red cloak and procure that magic root. Okay, thanks for joining. Hope you have a good rest of your day or evening.